Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining, welcome to this week's edition of the Locker Room. As you can tell, the banter kicked off way before we went live, and of course, it's a full house here. It's a Sly Lalum, the naughty Chelsea fellow, in the house. Still enjoying Chelsea's run of form and mourning Abramovich's departure. Gasikes, the Liverpool man, the cop man. Spitting, waxing, or rather, should I say, waxing lyrical now that Liverpool are keeping the heat on Manchester City with fantastic results and pressure. And Mr. Musem, like so many other Manchester United fans before him on the show of recent, donning black. He is in mourning. Manchester United are in the graveyard, but we will wait for their souls, basically to be retrieved. But it is an action-packed show that we have lined up for you, and we will get right into it after this. Brilliant. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining, welcome again to the Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. Feel free to hit the like button, leave a comment, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button, and we will be bringing you some great action. And we're kicking off the weekend's review action with, I don't know, where should we start? I mean, it was jam-packed. It's jam-packed over the weekend. Some great results. Let's give a Liverpool man. Let's start from the top, man. Actually, Liverpool. Sly, I believe you're probably looking at Liverpool's bottom where you're seated. They're right above you, but. I mean, fantastic result there, peeping West Ham. Tight game, Gasikes. What were your thoughts on that game? 1-0 victory right there, goal coming in courtesy of Sadio Mane. Is it enough? We saw what Klopp's reaction was, but Gasikes, how are you feeling about that result? Is it enough to keep up the pressure on City?
Oh, man. I was very relieved at the end of the game, of course. It was a very tight game, I think. One of the tightest in recent months. We've been sailing, but this one was really tight. Like there was a goal line clearance, there were a couple of last ditch tackles, but we made it through. And I think it's the grit is like something good, something that shows we are really going to keep the pressure on. I remember a couple of years back when Liverpool was just terrible at keeping leads and would always just. Every time the pressure was on, we just, crumble. I think it even happened this season with Brighton. I think it was when they came down from, was it 3-1 to 3-3 or something? And I feel like that's one of the games. If we fail to win this trophy, it's one of the games that will bite us in the back. But yeah,
I think it was Brentford actually. It must have been Brentford.
Yes, Brentford.
Brentford away, yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it was a tight game, but we managed to hold on. It was good to see us beat West Ham. I think they were our first loss this season. I think 2 that we have, and it was a very annoying game. I remember in December, felt like a very unfair loss. So I was happy to get the 3 points, but yeah, we played like incoming champions. Just getting those 1-0 wins, winning by 1 goal. Goal line clearances, luck is on your side,
I'm sure the gentlemen seem to agree with you.
No, seriously.
What are your thoughts? Musem.
No chance.
It's good.
No chance.
It's good for them, it's important that they start feeling like that. But one interesting thing about that game, I remember just before our half time, I hollered at one of our contributors here, Jonah Kajimbo, and I said to him, you know what, this is 1-1. Because I think like Liverpool are in that space whereby they are understanding that winning a league is a lot more strategic than just rock and roll. You know, you can't just run over everyone because guys will figure you out, you know, a lot more quickly. So wins like this, I hope they appreciate, as Liverpool fans, I hope they appreciate wins like this if they're hoping to elevate themselves in terms of a club. Because, I mean, come on, man, ups, downs, times change, you know, there's no consistency. This is football. This is what it is, you know. Klopp's not going to be here all the time. So I hope it's like they begin to get into a space where they actually, you know, like beyond just appreciating this rock and roll football, which pretty much everyone, we all enjoy it. Like hell, man, we had one of the best games in my opinion. Actually, for me, it was the best 0-0 that I've ever watched in my entire football experience playing against these guys.
Was that the League Cup final you're referring to? Yes.
And it was dope. It was awesome for a cup final. But when you're playing in the league, there's a lot more for those that watch games in depth. There's a lot more of a psychological approach towards it. They played a fine line because they didn't quite they didn't control the game, yeah, and they had their 1-0, but they didn't control the game, and that's something that I think that they need to pick up on and kind of learn over time.
You know what? I'll take those.
Musem, what are your thoughts?
You can control, and I'll take the win on any day.
Okay, for starters, I remember in high school, I don't remember Gasikes ever supporting Liverpool. When did you start supporting Liverpool, Gasikes? Like, 2015? There's no chance.
No, P7. I came as a Liverpool fan. Me, Sechibobo, Gozi, we were like 5 Liverpool guys.
Sometimes you have to explain yourself, huh? Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, that's how we were. We were few.
My point with Liverpool is that, man, I just pray it doesn't happen, that they, you know, close that gap. It won't happen. Like Slayer said, rock and roll, it won't take you to, you know, to close that line. You've got to calculate some games, eh? At some point, you know, just get that win and close in rather than, you know, heavy metal football all the time. But I'm looking forward to that Arsenal-Liverpool game. That game is going to be a decider of sorts, you know. Because, Mathew, if you guys can afford to cause some upsets in there, even a draw for Liverpool will, you know, everything will go haywire for their season after that game, right? So let's watch. It's just a few games from now. Well, we're watching to see what Liverpool does. But, of course, Liverpool plays their game. Everybody enjoys watching them, definitely. It's sour coming from my mouth being a Man U fan, but you have to give credit where credit is due, eh?
But I think also, you know, at times, right, we have to be careful about, I think like some of us as what I would call like 80s babies raised in the 90s kind of football fans, huh? The way our outlook on teams as opposed to what's happening on the pitch is a bit different. So at times we perhaps might have a predetermined kind of expectation of a team. I mean, like as an example, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, like Man United, the Manchester Derby, like I had an appreciation or an expectation, should I say, of it. And like, dude, I was switching between the game and watching Friends, rewatching. So like I was like, honestly, it was just like that. What really? But going back to what you're saying in terms of, okay, Liverpool are in a space where like they've like. Remember when we used to play like Mario Kart and you'd throw that red shell that would just knock everyone out of the way, and you just drive, and they've been on that, they've been driving. Now at some point it's like, oh, there's not always a red shell. Huh? You have to figure out how to navigate around slippery bananas and what and so forth. And when I was watching,
do you think they have what it takes, Sly?
Do I think what? Sorry,
they have what it takes. Do you think they have what it takes to basically be consistent until the end, until the very last game?
For sure, they will have what it takes, because I think that there's been right now we're going through a process of just, most especially in terms of managers. I feel like we're having evolutions every like 4 or 5 years, you know. And if I go back to like say like the Mourinho side of things, when he brought that kind of tactical style of play of just closing down your opponent, yeah, that ran for its course. And then now it evolves to something else. And then it was something else. And then now Liverpool and the likes are doing this whole, we will just come at you and come at you. But that also in itself can get kind of figured out. So they need to get into a space, in my view, whereby they actually, it's playing the opponent as opposed to this is what we do. Do you know what I mean? Like they come with, this is what we do. You know, so yeah. So
Gasikes, yeah, thanks, Sly. So Gasikes, you have the next game midweek, Champions League against Inter Milan. Then you return to the Premier League for a run of, I was going to say 3 games, but the 3rd game against United has been postponed. So you have your next game Premier League is against Brighton and Hove.
Hey, they called for help.
They call for help, and then you have Arsenal at the Emirates. Which is likely to be an interesting one. And then actually it's FA Cup. That's why the United game has been postponed, because there was a clash there. So you have the FA Cup, and then you have some interesting games after that. You have Watford at home. Remember, they're battling against relegation. So might not be as simple as it looks. Then you have the big one, 10th April. 10th April, guys, I think we need to be together, like physically, for this one. Manchester City welcome Liverpool to the Etihad. Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
10th April.
Title decider.
We're going to have a call after the call, and we'll.
It did. Gasikes.
Yeah.
Do you think? Let me move straight to that City game, because I have a feeling everything in between is probably doesn't matter. Everything in between and everything after doesn't matter. You have Spurs there, Everton. Newcastle are more or less secure, so they probably won't pause an issue. Southampton, Wolves. I mean, these are all. An interesting one will be Steven Gerrard away.
It don't matter.
You have Aston Villa.
Teams that you pulled out. All of those teams.
Two banana skins, Sly, 2 banana skins. Immediately after the game, the title decider. Man. Yeah. After the title decider, they go to Villa Park to face Stevie G. That could be I see that being an interesting one as well, by the way.
Stevie G will do this one.
He give you a win, eh? No, but Gasikes, let's close it. Let's go. I will really laugh if that result is the opposite. But anyway, that game against Manchester City away. Do you see a win for Liverpool? Because I have a feeling that is when Liverpool, that is your chance to take charge.
No, I think, we have so many games, and guys have started getting knocks and injuries and all these things. If we can keep our best guys, I think for me, when Thiago, Hendo, and when it's Thiago and Hendo together with, of course, our Brazilian number 6. Keita.
Fabinho.
Fabinho, of course. For me, I feel that's the best guys in the middle there. If we can keep those fit, then I think we have a chance. But if we are bringing in Keita and Milner, and they're good, but I feel like the 3 together are the best we can have. And if we have those three, then of course, if we have Firmino and Luis Diaz, and in front we are firing on all fronts. Now we have so many options in the front. But for me, that the issue will be in the middle there. So I'm hoping we can keep Thiago fit. I think he's the weaker link there. And then Hendo has his off days. I hope he can have one of those days where he's on fire and gives that, goes through balls that are just fire. If we can get those two things, if we can get that midfield good, and of course the defense, we'll handle. But if we don't have our first team in, I don't know if we'll handle at the Etihad. That KDB is just dangerous.
Yeah. Just in case you're wondering. The ref. But that is a United move.
I'm just saying. I just don't forget the ref. Yeah.
That's what we said. Guys use refs.
United boss. Musem, you see Musem quiet. They are silent because Howard Webb retired.
You know.
But
they go to like the Norwegian league, and then they got like a Norwegian manager. I think aloud.
My guy. Anyways, moving on to the Manchester derby. Fantastic game right there, end-to-end stuff. Eventually, Manchester City steamrolling United in the second half. 4-1 it ended.
Was it
Manchester in the second half. The second half wasn't
the first half. That was even worse. At least the first half, maybe there was a bit of end-to-end, but there was no end-to-end in this, man.
I said end-to-end stuff in the first half before Manchester City steamrolled United in the second. Yeah, Musem, what was your take on the game? Sly has his doubts on how it went.
No, he's actually right. It was end-to-end in the first half. The second half, I mean, the stats have been there for everybody to see. 0 everything, no shots, no touches in the box, no everything. But when we look back at what Ralph has been doing for the past 10, 12 games, you realize that United come out so strong. They get out of the block so fast. They use up all that energy. There's that whole hype of Gengen pressing, and then it disappears in the second half. I think all the games we've seen that United come out fast, then the second half kind of, falls apart. And you've seen some of the games that we've drawn, you score early, 1-0, you go into the half, end up drawing 1-1. So it clearly shows that the second half energy has not been there. And of course, it has to go back to his methods. Definitely, he's trying to push these guys to do that heavy metal thing, yeah? But it looks like guys haven't warmed up to the whole heavy metal thing. It's not easy. It takes a year or so. I think Liverpool took about 2-3 years to get to it, and then you'll need the players to to do that heavy metal kind of play. Right now, the players at Man U, I don't think they're up for it. I think on the contributors group the whole day we are fighting about what Ole did and what Ole didn't do, but you realize that the kind of players that he put in place are not. People talk about the process. A process is not supposed to be a 1-year thing or 2 years or 3 years. You should go away and let the same players kind of continue whatever process it is, right? But
yeah, tell the rest of your fans.
At the moment, Ole's signing are some of the worst performers in the team. We have Maguire, they're there, they're on the floor. The whole game, people are on the floor. How? You're a footballer, you're not a skater. You be on your 2 feet, don't you? So,
but Musem,
that goes into the process.
Yeah. Just to counter, just to counter that before Sly comes in, and Sly, you can actually take this.
Please.
Last season, I believe United finished second in the league, right? And there was lots of praise for the likes of Maguire, Ole, of course, notwithstanding. The likes of Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was something else on the right.
Sly.
Now, all of a sudden,
to Sly, the only one who praises him.
All of a sudden, they're the worst players. I mean, for me, I see
I'll talk to that.
guys. Manager,
Mathew, I'll
I
talk
have
to
a
that.
feeling you guys. Okay, go ahead.
I'll respond to that immediately. Before Sly interrupts. Are you seeing? He wants to interrupt. Before Sly interrupts.
Sly, let the man speak.
I'm so polite, you guys.
Mathew, this is what I'm talking about when I say the process, okay? Ole, this is the analogy I can use. Ole was used to patching up the leaky roof, right? But that house needs to be broken down completely. Yeah? When we look at the 4 games that Ole won over Pep, right? He was playing 7 defensive players. When you play 7 defensive players, you're not competing. You're sitting back and counter-attacking, and then you win. Leeds did the same thing. Leeds is in bottom 3. So either you want to remain an average mediocre team, or you want to reach that point where you change your whole system and then you start competing. Okay? Teams have gone through it. Liverpool went through it. Man City went through it. Arsenal at the moment has gone through that bad patch where everything fell apart. And then they moved forward and said, you know what, we're going to put everything on the ground. Oba, if you're not going to be part of this process, be out, but we're going to move forward. Okay? So the United we see of last season ending second. Okay. We look at the top 6 games, the top 6, games that we played. 0-0 against Chelsea, 0-0 against Liverpool, 0-0 against Arsenal. You're not competing, guys. You're defending to stay safe, and then somehow you end up second because Liverpool was doing badly. There was all this COVID chaos. Chelsea changed the manager. So when you look at those circumstances under which Ole was second, guys, now the real managers are putting, the game forward. You can't compete. When guys are on top of their game, you can't compete. So the Ole that finished second was exposed here when the real coaches said playing football, right? 5 against Liverpool. I don't know. You lost 5 games in a row against the top teams. You're done. You're done. There's nothing you can say about Ole that he's some miracle worker. Yeah, nothing.
Let me pull Sly. Of course, Sly has been in a situation where he doesn't understand process. He's Mr. Moneybags. So Sly,
I know about the money situation. Just purely, and let me ask you, man. Yeah, let me ask you, man. Like real talk, as a fan of football, yeah, me myself, I would rather my team goes out and loses 6-1, yeah, than wins 2-1, whereby you have not seen any kind of effort, But also at the same time, a 6-1 loss is the same as a 2-1 loss. You see, the fact of the matter is the energy of the fans of United. Sorry, I chopped that because I called them scum. But I think YouTube have like algorithms about.
Yeah, man, none of that.
But
none of that.
The thing about United is their thoughts of the fan is filtering. They are constantly chasing for what other guys want. Guys are out here saying, yo, you know what? In secondary school, I used to get chicks just by like that. And now all of a sudden they're not getting chicks and they're like, oh, no, you know what? There's things wrong around with it. No, take your time. Take the time, pause, and appreciate the fact that the game has evolved. The game has changed beyond anything, even on the back end in terms of money that's being put into the organization and so forth. Like I was reading a stat recently, where actually turns out United have over 1 billion fans globally. Yeah, and
massive.
the next team after that is Chelsea, and we're talking about hundreds of millions. Now imagine 1 billion fans, the amount of shirts they sell, like where is that money going? And the direction of the entire club has been switched. You see, why?
Yeah, by the new CEO.
But the club is raising a lot of money.
The beating was so bad the other day. Why the beating was so bad? Why you were competing with Ross and Rachel and Chandler and things on my TV set was because I was feeling sorry for you guys. I was like, what is this? Like, literally, guys were playing at a snail's pace. Before the first goal entered, the commentators was like, you know, things are now slowing down. Boom, goal. City were on a training ground. And that should tell you something when something is happening on your back court. You know? Mathew would tell you, as an Arsenal guy, whenever that derby goes down between Chelsea and Arsenal, most especially in terms of recent times, let's say the last 10, 15 years, yeah, it's a fight.
I can see where this is going. Yeah.
You know, what's going on?
Matthew, I'd want to address that a bit as well.
Man. Wake up, man.
Let the man react. Let the man react.
This is now, the issue is, right now, actually, I am not for Ralph, but I believe we're in a transition and we have to accept the transition. Things were never going to fall from the sky, like some people were saying, right? But this is the thing. I was actually happy for the result that we got yesterday. Why? Because
I rest my case. Matty, I rest my case. Please.
Because
let the man
alone. I'm a football fan to say I'm happy about me being whooped like that.
Sly is a nuisance. Matthew, Sly is a nuisance.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying.
Sly. Let the man speak. Let the man speak. Let's go, Musem. Let's go.
Let me even
my point is
let me even mute myself.
Why it's good to accept the result that we got yesterday is that for us to move to the next level, whereby you're going to play and compete with Liverpool and Man City, we have to come out. You can no longer hide. You can't cower like all these things, right? You can't cower.
Let the man talk. Let the man talk. Let the man talk, Sly. Let the man talk.
Why is Sly?
Finish your point.
How do you guys deal with Sly? So, this is what I'm saying, Matthew. For you to come out and say that United is going to move to that next level and compete with the evolution that has happened at Liverpool, the evolution that has happened at City, the evolution that's happened at Chelsea. When we look at the games that have happened, Chelsea versus Liverpool, top game in the Carling Cup.
Yeah.
Man City, Liverpool, top game. Man City, Chelsea, top game, right? Because they compete on the front foot, not defending. So what I like Ralph about his process is we need to come out. Okay? Now, when we come out, what it has shown us, and what, Matthew, I want to address your initial inquiry, it has shown us which players are going to be able to move to the next level and compete with the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man City. Okay? You guys were talking about Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka looked brilliant because he was always defending. Okay? Anytime you move forward and you say we need to now attack and cross the midfield, Wan-Bissaka is like a deer in headlights. Okay? Maguire looked a very good defender because he had 7 guys backing him up, right? Anytime you say that we're going to move as a team forward and move, you know, our high line, Maguire is exposed because he has no pace. He can't run, okay? So what Rolf has exposed is that I actually don't have the right players to play the football that the fans keep, you know, dying for. We will never get to Liverpool's level. We'll never get to Man City's level, Chelsea's level with the players that we have. So what Rolf has done is that, you know what, this is how we're going to play forward, but you can see the guys I have right now may not be the right guys. I'm not saying, you know, throw all those guys out now, but it's showing you that, guys, if we want to build this way, probably these are not the right people to do that. I don't know why that's so hard.
No, you can forgive Sly. I mean, Sly has been on the front foot for the last 20 years since Abramovich came to power. So he doesn't do anything like trust the process. Sly spend some money, get some trophies in. The coach is not working. Fire the coach.
We'll talk about us.
That's Sly's approach.
But I just want to ask just a simple question in terms of the United situation. because there's been a lot of back and forth in terms of news reports with regards to Ronaldo and Cavani. Were they available? Were they fit? Did they make themselves unavailable for the team and so forth? Manager was asked in the press conference, and his answer was, hey, you know what? I take my lead from my medical staff and so forth. Yep. Because the reason why I asked this, and I bring it to him in terms of what his insight, because I'm assuming he dives into their space, is the fundamentals of the challenge of United is not about what is actually happening on the pitch right now, but as opposed to what is the essence of the organization. You see, they've been relying on history for so long, and that flame has burnt out, and it burnt out a very long time ago. And now they're failing to recreate that flame. I felt like such an idiot the other day. We were looking through the fixtures for the league, and I genuinely looked at the Manchester derby, and I thought, you know what? There could be something here. Do you get what I mean? Because one, it's a derby. Hell, when we play Fulham in the West London derby, it's sporadic. You know? When Arsenal play Tottenham, irrespective of what your form is in the current state, it's sporadic. You know? Liverpool play Everton in a derby, it's sporadic. You cannot guarantee it. One could be out here just, we win and we're scoring 4 goals and you get to that, it's sporadic. But Manchester United play Manchester City, and these guys, let me tell you, you watch the game. No, you were 4 or 5 passes. But, come on.
Now, gentlemen, we could go on. We could go on about the United derby until the roosters in the morning start crowing. But
too bad we don't have Man City fans.
No. Manchester City fans are all in prep.
I know, you're probably gonna be one soon. You guys.
but I have one coming on next week. They're all in prep, man. You guys are in high school doing homework and stuff. You guys, Man City fans, that generation. Anyway, Gasikes, your take finally on this Manchester United, Manchester City. Basically the significance of that result. What do you think it means for United? Is there a quest for top 4 done? And of course for City, does that make it more difficult for you? And after that, we'll just move on from United.
Yeah, I don't know why I had any hopes in United, but as Sly said, I thought, a derby, anything can happen in a derby. But it's going to be tough for us with the games left. I don't know if City is going to drop any other points except maybe against us. But I still think United has a chance at top 4 because your games in hand are not easy games as well. If they don't,
by us you mean Arsenal.
Yes, by you I mean Arsenal. If they don't, but they'll need to, as Musem said, man, the players need to. Yeah, I guess it's that transition thing, but you can see that some of the players are not in it, like body language and stuff. I also watched the second half yesterday. I watched just the last few minutes of the first half, and I watched the second half. And man, like Sly said, these guys were just training, man. They would get together like 7 or so passes, and back
home they call that sambusa, man.
They're doing sambusa on their birthdays.
Let's play sambusa. Samosa, whatever you want to call it.
I still think there's a hope. I still think there's hope for top 4 because, man, it's like that top 4 spot. You guys, one guy is like awake for like 3 weeks and then they mess up. And then the next guy comes in for another 3 weeks and then they mess up. So you never know. You never know,
All right. Moving on.
Just to say that on and off thing, like United right now for me, the characteristics that they hold are are like Tottenham, you know. That's where they are right now, and they need to have that appreciation. They can come up and beat City, like Tottenham came beat City. What happened the next game? You know what I mean? Like they have that.
Wow.
The glue is not there, and I've been saying from day dot, it's down to leadership, and they don't have leadership. Apologies.
Well, let's wait and see what happens. We definitely commiserate with our United buddies and hope that they can, smile sometime soon, Musem. But moving on to the True Reds, the Arsenal, putting up a decent result. I don't want to say, an easy one, because at the end of the day, we saw what Watford did to Man United previous weekend, frustrated them. United threw everything at the goal at Watford. My brother.
We'll see.
Your time is coming. Anyway. Like today you're enjoying the digs, eh? You're enjoying the digs. Arsenal, ladies and gentlemen, coming up 3-2 victors at Vicarage Road. They're taking down Watford. Navi ending there, Watford scoring a bit of a late goal with Sissoko. But all in all, commanding display, especially in the first half from Arsenal. Goals coming in from Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli. You could say the new spine, the new attacking spine for Arsenal. And that win right there, taking Arsenal into fourth spot, 25 points, 25 games played, 48 points, one game less than Chelsea, who have played 26 games and on 53 points. United in fifth as well with 28 games played and 47 points. So United 1 point behind, but Arsenal with 3 games in hand over United. My goodness, that sometimes seems unbelievable, but it seems unbelievable. But great game. Sly, I know you're itching to talk about Arsenal, but goes, talk about
honestly, look, Matthew, the last few times I've been on, I've always said that, you know what? I've seen a plan. You see, one of the things that Arsenal, in my view, has done is they've just kind of, they've accepted their position and they've said, okay, this is where we want to be, and they've slowly starting to build towards that. I remember even a few years back when Saka was still a right back, and we were going in for him. You know what I mean? This is before Reece James had come and brought, what he did. But we were going in for it, Now, what they've done is they brought in Arteta, and they're just not listening to all of that. They're just doing what they're doing. They've got I remember during the last transfer window, they spent the most money. People made noise. Why are you not spending on experience and shit like that? But slowly, you're starting to see the fruits of that. Even with Arteta, you know what I mean? They've gone from a place of, they're not expecting where they were. They're expecting a consequence of where they are right now, which is a huge difference between them and United. You know what I mean? And they've been building that. So Arsenal finishing fourth, huge accomplishment for them. But in all fairness, when you look at the guys around them, of course, West Ham, let's be honest, it's a bit sporadic. They were always looking for Europa. It's a win for them in Europa. United, it's like they were fighting for Champions League wearing Europa armor. You know what I mean? And they were just being down. This is Mortal Kombat, bro. Like just and they're not really. Arsenal were just, and now, like I said, 9 points, potentially 9 points. Let's just put it on averages. Let's say they get all of those 4 points. What are we doing right now? We got 10 games left. That's impressive. You know what I mean? And the most important thing between in terms of what they're doing is they have that consistency. You can see what it is that they're kind of trying to do. even letting Aubameyang go and whatever, there was that drama. But look how quickly that died out. The reason why it died out so quickly was because there was something that was being worked towards, you know. So yeah,
and you can see the results.
You guys, but yeah, kudos to.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Let me pull in Musem, and then we'll wrap Arsenal's chaos up with Gasikes. Musem, you mentioned you made reference to Arsenal in terms of tearing it up and starting to build again. What have Arsenal got right that United haven't so far with regards to doing that, in your view?
Okay, actually, before I respond to that, let me just mention something in our previous discussion. The fans have very little they can do about the club's ownership, especially the ones overseas. Yeah. So it becomes very difficult for us to discuss what the ownership of the team can do and cannot do. We know they're not doing well, but there's nothing we can really do much about. Okay. So then moving on to Arsenal. Arsenal had its issues of, you know, ownership and, you know, management. There's not much you could do as fans, right? But then probably something is beginning to, you know, fall in place at that level. Yeah. Now, when that falls into place, down onto the pitch, the manager can do whatever they can do. The director of football can be able to bring in the signings that they want. So they can now connect. Okay. So it's happening for us right now. Yeah. Previously, there were issues with management. Some players are not supposed to be in the squad. You're selling them. You bring them back on loan. Your captain is in and out. You have Zaha is captain, then Aubameyang, then Lacazette, all those issues. But when the manager is given that control and the confidence to do what he has to do, you can see the results. Arsenal is now, I think we talked before the show, you've gone about 6-7 games, you know, winning. That's all you need. That's all you need. And like I think Sly has just posted on the chat somewhere here that the league is not one with the big teams. When you play against the top 6, you don't need to win all those games. Yeah. It's these smaller games, all the guys below you. If you can collect those points, which I talked about last time, that if Ralph had focused on the first 10 games of his tenure and managed to get 8 wins out of 10 and 2 draws or 1 loss, whatever, he would be in a very comfortable position right now. We would be saying, oh, what a genius. So what Arteta has actually done, go lose terribly to Man City, go lose terribly to Chelsea, it doesn't matter. When you get to Wolverhampton, Watford, make sure you do the business. All you need is a stretch of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. And it's unbelievable. Even you Arsenal fans can't believe that you have 3 games in hand and you're above United. That's all you need. You just need to deal with the rest. It doesn't matter whether it's Liverpool, Man City. That's pride. That's banter. You know, people go on Twitter and how Arsenal has been demolished by Man City. So what? Go and beat Wolves. Go and beat Brentford. Go and beat Brighton. Go and beat up on Aston Villa. Go and beat up on all those other guys. You'll end up in top 4. So I think Arsenal has been able
that's a strategy.
Yeah, Arsenal has been able to settle down and say, you know what? We need to focus as a team. Forget about what's happening off pitch. Forget about what's happening with the leadership. Forget about what's happening in the DC. What's going to happen on pitch? That's what matters. And I think the results are paying off. It hurts that actually Arsenal is now in a better position. But kudos to you guys. You've been able to sort where the business matters the most, and that's on the pitch.
As Arteta says, it is what it is. And this is the first time in 15 years Mr. Musem has eaten humble pie. Gone are the days when he was always banging my door down. Banging my door down.
United.
Matthew, in fairness, sir, like as much as you're doing what you're doing right now, like honestly, you will need pedigree. You will need like that sense of maturity. You will need to find and sign players like on that spine, because that's the unfortunate thing right now is like you guys can be bullied like fuck. Like if this Arsenal today played the Drogba Chelsea, you know, the Drogba Chelsea with those mature guys. The bullying that will take place on the pitch would be just retarded. Do you know what I mean? You do need to You can't be on that Spanish thing of don't touch me. Let me run past.
The game has evolved. The game has evolved. We no longer play so physical.
Yes, it has evolved, but this is still Premier League, bro. Like, what are you talking about? It's still Premier League. It's still freaking
with VAR and retrospective red cards and all those things. Don't necessarily
and no Howard Webb.
You even step onto the pitch to play. That shit has already gone down.
And no Howard Webb.
No
so,
bias.
I mean, the game has evolved. You don't necessarily have to be physical. You must have character. You don't necessarily have to be physical.
Howard Webb.
Ah man, that guy used to kill us, man. Hey, he used to kill us. Gasikes, your final take on Arsenal's result and what it means for them moving into the, ideally into the driving seat as far as the top 4 race is concerned.
Yeah, man, you guys have really come of age. I think Arteta has finally got his thing going. That Saka boy is really on fire. He's really on fire. I think it's a joy to watch. But I think as I think it was Musem who said he has finally managed to deal with the off pitch issues, getting rid of players that are trying to be big-headed. I think he's now in control of his squad and is finally getting them to do what what he wants. And we are now seeing what you guys wanted in him. And I think it's good. It's not very good for me from a Liverpool point of view, but I think you guys are favorites over United and Tottenham and West Ham for that top 4 spot. Yeah.
It will still go down.
Yeah,
to
right now.
Mathew and Arsenal.
Yeah, I think so. No, there's a couple of banana skins there. To be honest, I mean, we have Chelsea, we have United, we have Spurs. I mean those.
Mathew, like I think. Do you remember when Liverpool finished? I think they finished 5th, 6th, and then they got offered Europa, and then Klopp was like, "Nah, not gonna. We're gonna." There was, they have like that kind of fair play kind of entry. So Liverpool were offered Europa, and they actually turned it down because they were like, you know what, we need to focus on.
It was distracting them from what they were trying to do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Arsenal are not in any competition right now. Let's be mindful.
That's very important.
They're benefiting from that
right now. And the training that they take into more time of them spending together, gelling, bringing together the cohesion and the team. All of that is contributing to what's happening on the pitch. So when you think of it in the context of, and perhaps this is what I was hinting at when I was talking about a more mature team being able to kind of bully them on the pitch, is that if next season Arsenal are playing Champions League, I personally feel it will be more detrimental to their wider goal than, you know what I mean? I almost feel like they would rather.
Of course, then they will.
I disagree. I think I disagree. Let me add my voice to that. And I mean, fair point, right? In the context of building things, which has been a key theme throughout our discussion today. United, blah 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 blah. Break the house down, start building it up again. Arsenal are seemingly doing that well. The reason I disagree with that is because being in the Champions League has to come at some point. It's part of the building process. Regardless of whether we go in and we're knocked out at the first round or qualifying stages, just going into and you guys know well, you guys know too well. I mean, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, maybe not too well. Chelsea, United, Liverpool, not so much. But the importance of having Champions League to offer the kind of players who have pedigree. The players that you're talking about, the guys
you think you're going to attract these players, right? Is what you're saying. You want to
seriously. No, seriously. I mean, case in point, January transfer window, Vlahovic, right? Do you think if it was Liverpool that came in for Vlahovic, Vlahovic would have turned Liverpool down? No, he wouldn't. He would have gone to Liverpool. He would have even gone to Chelsea, okay? Because he's sure those two guys are going to be in the mix with the Champions League. Those two guys are serious about winning stuff, and they have the biggest stage to show for it. Yes. Now Arsenal
at the current position to be able to potentially a player that is potentially able to win, say, Champions League. Like, for example, like, can Arsenal attract Haaland?
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, Hazard is past his,
right?
Hazard is past his best days. But
that is the caliber of player that you're talking about. You're nowhere near that.
But no, Sly. Let me interject. We're not yet ready for that kind of player. Not yet. We're probably one season away because we still have a little bit of dead wood that we need to shed off. But for us to get there, a taste of Champions League. I mean, we have the youngest squad in the Premier League. Let's not forget. All these guys that we're talking about that are shining. Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard.
20-year-old.
Smith Rowe, who didn't even make it, right? Ben White, I mean, the spine, the center of defense, the goalkeeper. All these guys are under 24 years old. They've not experienced Champions League football. So it's going to be part of the process, as I call it, for them to experience it, get knocked out, qualify again, be able to use Champions League to add that quality to the pitch that they need to, propel them to greater things. Let's leave Arsenal right now and move on to Chelsea. 4-0, wiping Burnley at Turf Moor. Sly Lalum, your boys, showing no teardrops, amidst the chaos surrounding Roman Abramovich's departure. But great activity there. Goals coming in from Mr. Kai Havertz right there, pulling out. This guy is the most underrated Chelsea player, Sly. I don't know, as Chelsea fans, what you think. I mean, this guy, Champions League, was it what? The World Club Cup?
Yeah,
this guy delivers the goods.
He's a big game player. Like, he wants that. And you have to remember he's German, so it's easy for them. They have no emotions. They step up to the penalty line with frozen hearts. So
right.
It's really great. But I mean,
but for me, my favorite player,
Timo Werner is a Uganda one. This is supposed to be called.
No. You see, the thing with Timo is that for me personally, I feel like Timo has been trying to recreate what it is that he was doing, as opposed to adapting himself and his capacity to where he's playing, and I feel like that's where he is kind of falling short. But the reason why we've had time for him is because, like, he's still there, he's hustling, he's making the runs, you know what I mean? Like United guys shouldn't even make jokes about Timo, because like that guy hustles in the game more than any of their front three or front four ever make. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter.
Right.
He's not a midfielder. He's a striker. It's about goals.
No, yeah, but I'm talking. You see, like, it's not about just hustling on the midfield. He's hustling in terms of up front. He's running down the wing backs. He's running down the goalkeepers and whatnot. And look, the thing is,
in this era of stat padding, he needs to
go. When you're in a good place, you can afford to do that. You know what I mean? Like, City have just spent like 100 million on Grealish, who has banged like 4 goals, 2-3 assists. No one is talking about it because
they are. He's not a striker though.
Yeah, they are where they are. You know what I mean? So Werner is only getting this attention and so forth because of the fact that there was more of an expectation. But yeah, first and foremost.
Well, let's scratch Timo Werner. Sly. There's another guy I want us to talk about. Mr. Reece James. Reece James. For me, of course, a goal and an assist coming in there. One half of what was ideally the best. The best contributors.
We had this.
Yeah, beginning of the season, him and Ben Chilwell, right?
Like real freaking potential fighters at the end of
champions.
The tunnel.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes, ideally contenders.
And what happened was the fact that it's obvious, and it even goes into why we even signed the likes of Lukaku, was the fact that we had a system with our wing backs that was working very, very well. And it was very hard to disturb the system, because when you got into the final third, Reece was there and then Ziyech was also there. So like defenders, you could never.
Chilwell was there.
You know what I mean? On the other side, Chile is there. You know what I mean? You could never really dissect it. which is why we did a lot towards the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, as the football gods be, both of them got injured. Then we started ending up in a patch job situation. And the thing is, like, we've been fighting. I'm very comfortable. I'm proud of where we are as a team. You know, this win against Burnley just goes to show you that, you know, when Reece James is on the pitch, it's not about his direct even efforts towards situations, but what it does to players around him. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, guys just feel a bit more secure. Guys feel a bit more accurate. Passes that are made that are a bit more abstract and out there. And yeah, and it goes forth. So that was good. We're going to finish.
Let me pull Gasikes in there. How would you compare ideally? Well, one, what do you think this result means for Chelsea? Are they securing the third spot, or do you feel they're still vulnerable to fourth spot? And then two, which is one that I will let me reserve this one for Musem. Because I see we're running out of time. But, yeah. We have like a couple of minutes to wrap it up, man. So do you see, is this enough for Chelsea to secure a third spot, or are they still at risk?
No, they're still at risk until I guess how many if Arsenal was to win its games in hand. Is there any game between the two, by the way? I'm not sure. But no.
Yeah, we have a game in hand. Yeah, there is.
With them. But yeah, I mean, the distance is not so big. The gap is not so big if you consider.
It'll be 2 points behind them if we win. Yeah, so Arsenal is on 25 games played, 48 points. Chelsea is on 26 games played, 53 points. So Arsenal wins its next game and Chelsea loses. Even if Chelsea doesn't lose, that it's basically a 2-point gap going into the game against Chelsea. So it's an interesting one. I mean, of course, Chelsea have superior quality, but Gasikes, what are your thoughts?
No, but my thoughts is that they can't afford to lose a game either. I think the interesting thing about all of us, like till like the 6th position, is like none of us can afford to lose a game right now because the stakes are really high. If City loses, Liverpool is right there. If Liverpool loses, they've lost out on any chances for top spot. If Chelsea loses, Arsenal and United are right behind on its back. So man, they can't afford to lose games right now. And I mean, it's good that they're winning in this way. I think it gives them, a boost and morale to keep going. But it will be interesting to see if it comes down to those 2 points and the game. The game with City, City and Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea. Those games are going to be really, really interesting to watch. But they can't afford to slip up right now. And no, this game is not enough to get them their 3rd position. Yeah.
Great, Musem. As we wrap it up, we have to bring this to a close. Who has the best wing backs between Liverpool and Chelsea? We are talking Reece James and Ben Chilwell against Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson.
Be neutral.
Well, now that Sly is here,
be neutral.
Is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, To answer your point, of course, I think it's
also sorry
to the Liverpool boys.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interject. Insisted on this point, and I just need to clarify on my position on this point with regards to most specifically what they're doing wrong. Is that one?
You have 5 seconds.
They've got Wan-Bissaka, and now they're trying to emulate what is going on around them in terms of other teams. Do not put Wan-Bissaka and think that he's going to play as a wing back. No, he's an old school right back. You know what I mean? Play him as that.
Slide, time up. Thank you for making that point. Musem, very quickly. I have like a few seconds till the end of the
game. We still have
to go. Who has the better wing backs?
I have to go for the Liverpool boys because for them, I think they've done it over and over again. It comes like second nature to them. But, I mean, the Chelsea guys are pushing them to the limit. And that's why I said right now Chelsea is just floating. Because initially we thought we were going to have a 3-horse, race. And they fell off. Now we don't know if they're going to end up 4th or 2nd. They have no motivation actually in the league. Their motivation I think he's in Europe. They hope probably they can repeat their heroics from last season. But in the league, they're very confusing. They're not anywhere. They're just whining about Lukaku, Werner, our fullbacks, but they have no motivation really.
Give us your view about one of the headlines: Roman Abramovich putting Chelsea up for sale. We know why he's doing that. But do you think, and this has been a debate that's going on, do you think that Chelsea are going to feel the impact all of a sudden, lose their competitive edge in the transfer window?
I mean, like, look, here's the thing. Yeah? From the get-go, when Roma took over the club, of course, the simple answer is yes, we're going to lose a competitive advantage. Because Roman Abramovich has always been an owner, unlike, say, the Glazers and so forth, that is just there for the love of the game. And he's always been putting money into the game and so forth. But one of the things that he did from a very long time ago, and something that I always encourage football fans to do, is understand that football has evolved beyond just what is happening on the pitch. You have to understand what's happening with transfers. You have to understand what's happening from your club from a business standpoint. Now, he has set the club up. From a business standpoint, he has set the club up in a very, very steady way. Like, just as a case in point, we used to get a lot of flack about the loan army. You know what I mean? We built the academy, set that stuff. We have the loan army all out there, but you'll see the turnaround. That's happening with players that are coming out of that potential system, and transfers and so forth. And the game has evolved towards those situations. Like, yes, it's going to have an impact, but also at the same time, I feel like it's almost like a blessing in disguise to a certain degree in terms of, okay, you know what? Let's see what can go down now. Because if you look at even our last transfer window, most of it was funded by Hazard, Morata, and so forth.
Anyways, so guys, thank you all for joining today. Thanks for coming onto the show. Gasikes from Liverpool, man. Musem, Manchester United, Sly, Chelsea boy. As always, if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to hit the like button. Most of all, would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and we will bring you some more great content. You have a great rest of the week. Stay safe and Godspeed. Bye-bye.
Bye.